Hey there, Hushpup here, back for another LEGO video, this time with a slightly interesting twist. Not too long ago, LEGO partnered with Unity, the game engine, to make what's called the LEGO Microgame, which is this cool creative downloadable project which allows you to use Unity and LEGO bricks to make your own game. The fun part of it is you don't need any programming experience since it has these things called behavior bricks and each one does something different, and when you combine them together you can create unique and cool effects. I'll drop some links down below so if you want to take a look yourself you can get started and make your own LEGO game. But for now I want to just jump into Unity quickly and show you what I mean by behavior bricks, for those of you that haven't seen this before. They recently ran a game jam as well, which I did participate in, where you needed to build a game using the LEGO Microgame project. It seemed like something fun to do, and I'm sure they'll host more of these in the future, especially as they are continuing to add more features to the microgame experience. But more on that later. So I've downloaded Unity, and I've already got the LEGO Microgame project downloaded. Here under prefabs you can see I'm in the LEGO behavior bricks folder. There are a bunch of different multicolored bricks here, each doing something different. These are the behavior bricks. Their names pretty much relate to exactly what they do. So for example, I could drag a touch trigger. So when you touch this brick, anything attached to it will, as the name says, trigger. So we can put an explode action here and snap it to the touch trigger. So when this is triggered, this will explode. I'll demonstrate that in a second. But you can do more than that. Say for example if you wanted some sort of moving elevator, you could attach this on here, and when you touch it, it will then trigger the elevator action and it will go up and down. So let's just make something really simple. Let's make some sort of elevator that you gotta touch the button and it takes you up, and then there's another one which you can press it and then it triggers an explosion somewhere. So before we head into that, we should get some bricks. They have some bricks already installed here under the brick collections folder. We can then just delete the things that we don't need, and we need to unpack the prefab first. Get rid of these, and then we can use these to make our elevator and explosive. Now you don't have to use just these. You can actually open up another program which I'll show you in a minute, and you can make your own LEGO models and import them directly into here. This is going to be a very basic tower, and it's going to be blue because I'm not going to change the colour, although you can change the colour. I should actually probably show you that. So you can just click here and you can pick any of the colours that they have available. I don't think it's every single LEGO colour, but this is a good selection. There's a lot of transparent ones, which is nice. But we don't want a transparent tower. Gonna have it being brown, be like a nice wooden tower. We also need a flat piece to act as the elevator. Yeah, and just like LEGO bricks, everything all snaps nicely. That should be a decent height. Maybe that again. Yeah, maybe one more. I knew it was missing one. These things are never perfect. We need another flat piece at the top to act as the top of the tower. And there we go, this should be good enough to demonstrate. We should actually create a little platform actually, where we're going to have the explodey button. So now we just need to add in the LEGO behavior bricks, and then this should all work. So very simply, we just drag in the elevator one to say that this is going to be an elevator, and we're going to drag a touch trigger on it. And this should mean when we touch this, it activates the elevator. I think we should move this a bit closer. There, like that. Now this green little bit, that's how high it's going to go. That's not enough. So we want to increase the distance to make it go a bit taller. Looks 17 looks about right. And we'll see when we test it though. And then we just need to add the touch trigger and the explode. And then it should work. Alright, let's test it. I bet something's going to go horribly wrong. Well, there we go, we activated the elevator. And that didn't quite work how we expected it to. The whole tower blew up as soon as we touched it. And I think I know why. So, with these bricks, anything attached will count. So because this is a touch trigger, it's connected to all these bricks and the whole tower. So as soon as we touch the tower, this activates. So we should change it to just be brick, the scope, which means when you touch this brick specifically, even though it's connected to everything else, only this counts as the trigger. Now this is connected to everything else, so hopefully the whole tower will still explode as expected. So let's try that. Make the whole tower explode, and it all falls over nicely as it's got physics. This bit's about to go as well. Whee! And yeah, that's the basics on behavior bricks. You can make much better stuff for sure. The only limitation is your imagination and what you want to create, basically. As I said before, you can actually use your own LEGO models you create and bring them straight up into Unity. So to do that, you need to download a program called Bricklink Studio. I'll link it in the description as well. And you should also add the Microgame palette, the specific brick palette used for the LEGO Microgame. The reason why you might want to do that is because not all bricks are available to use, and this palette limits the ones you can see and select to only the ones that are compatible. It works in a very similar way to LEGO Digital Designer for those of you who've tried to use that program before. There are loads of LEGO bricks for you to select and choose from, and building is extremely easy as all you need to do is drag and drop and snap them together, just like if you were building LEGO in real life. The only tricky thing is if you don't know what the brick you're looking for is called, but you know what it looks like. That's the most annoying thing, because you know exactly what you want, but you don't know how they name it. So you just gotta try and type in things that you think are relevant, like the word round or plate, and hopefully it will show up. Either that or just spend a lot of time just scrolling down through everything until you see which one you actually want to use. Oh, and you can change the colours of the bricks too. You're not just stuck with the ones that you drag from the menu. You can change them by clicking to the right and then either just by selecting the colour you want or by searching by name to refine the search. I'm looking for the gold colour, so I've typed in gold to find it. As you can see, it doesn't really take that long to build something basic. Of course, if you're going to build a massive structure, then yeah, it might take a bit of time. But since we only want to demo something small, this will do nicely. I don't really like how the base turned out. I was just putting those down just to show how it all worked, so I'm going to replace it with something nicer looking. Using the keyword modified usually comes up with a lot of useful bricks, like the ones that have the stud on the side. I'm actually looking for one of those right now. It's like a plate that has two studs angled facing towards you, but apparently it doesn't come under the modified tag. It's called something else, so I spent a long time scrolling through and searching for it, so you can probably see the videos like sped up me just going through everything, just scrolling, trying to find it. But eventually, I did. It was actually called bracket. What I probably should have done is actually just Google the part, because I probably would have been able to find it more easily that way. But that's something else you can do if you get stuck like me looking for something. There we go. This looks like a much better Ninjago shrine looking thing. So I'm going to show you how to export it. All you need to do is go to File and then Export, and then you need to make sure to select it as an LD draw file because that's what Unity can read. And then we need to go and import it into Unity after that. Okay, now we're back in Unity. You need to go to LEGO Tools at the top and then Import Model. Then you have to go and search for your model through the file browser. And since you saved it as an LD draw file, you should just be able to import that straight into Unity. After you found it, you'll be greeted with this menu where you can change some additional settings. I'm going to uncheck randomize rotation, as that's only really useful for things like shrubbery and trees and stuff. And then we just need to click the import model. It's given us a bit of a warning saying that some of the brick ID materials are considered legacy materials. I think that means that they will still show up fine, but I think LEGO's just not printing those colors anymore. It's using the older color palette. That's fine though. You can either change that in game or ignore it. And there we go. There's our model that we built in Bricklink Studio, brought straight into Unity. And it snaps perfectly to the stud grid that we've got here, and it will interact with all the other LEGO Microgame elements such as the behavior bricks. You can also edit the model itself as well, so if I wanted to take these studs and put them on the top, you can do that. You can edit your model in the editor. As the final thing, I'm just going to show you how interactivity works with some of the models you import. It should just be exactly the same as before, but it'll be fun to play around with the model that we just made. So I'm going to copy a bunch of these little mini gong pieces that I did, and then I'm going to actually add the hazard brick, which means anything connected becomes hazardous. There's not really anywhere to snap it to, as I didn't really leave any space, so I think I'm going to have to add them onto the front gong. Now, with behavior bricks, you don't actually need to always put the brick on. You can actually hide the brick if you want to. You can add the behavior directly to the other LEGO bricks, and I'll show you that in a second. But there we go. We now have toxic gongs, or toxic mini gongs. So I want to add a touch trigger to this mini gong. All I need to do is click on it, and then click on the Add Component button in the inspector on the right. And then I can search for the behavior brick that I want to add, the touch trigger, and then it will appear. You can see there's a little grey box or cube above, and that's just to show you that something here has a touch trigger. We're going to also add a win action, and that means when we touch it, we should win the game. We're going to add the explode brick physically though, because it just looks cool, even though if it doesn't quite fit. We could have also added it the other way as well, but having it visually shows the player that this explodes, so that kind of helps as well. So the goal is, when you touch the gong, you'll explode the shrine and you'll win. Now we don't just want the touch trigger to only activate the win condition, we also want it to activate the explode brick. And because the explode brick is technically on the shrine and the gong is a separate piece, we can't just leave it as activating all connected bricks. So we can select the specific actions variable inside the touch trigger, and we can set the size to 2, which means we want it to trigger 2 things, and then we can manually go and find the things we want it to trigger. So we're going to select the win condition and the explode brick, and then it should trigger those 2 actions. Now that's all ready, we're going to go and test the game. First of all, we want to walk into our toxic gongs and see what happens. Oh no, our Pizza Boy minifigure got smashed. So they're working as expected. And once we respawn, we're going to go and test the win condition. Just need to walk up to it and yay! We won the game! That's a very, very easy game. Luckily it was free, otherwise I'd want a refund. That wasn't even a minute long. But yeah, with a lot of time and imagination, you could make some pretty cool stuff with this. It reminds me a lot of the old LEGO Universe Properties feature that they had, where you could drag and drop a bunch of behaviors onto your models and make them do things. I'm sure some of you guys who are watching played the game and remember that. So for the last part of the video, I'm actually going to go and show you the game that I made for the Game Jam that we mentioned earlier. If you want to take part in one of these in the future, I'm sure they'll definitely do another one. This is the second one that they've done, so there's bound to be another one that they do in the future. This project was quite a lot of fun to make. It was interesting getting back into Unity since I haven't used it in a very long time. Mostly just doing Roblox dev stuff now. As you can see, it was very clearly themed off of Ninjago. One of the most difficult things of the project, I think, was actually just getting the minifigure that you control to not be one of the default ones that they give you. It was actually pretty annoying to get him to look like a ninja, but it was the most important thing. It had to look thematically accurate. So here we go, Ninja vs Pirates, quest to save the dragon. And yes, there is a dragon in this, but you'll have to wait for that until later. So we've got to collect all 5 teapots, because of course you do. I'm going to skip over all the dialogue since You guys can have a look at that if you're going to check the game out for yourself. We've got to jump on these to get up here, and then we get the first teapot. Right, here we got to dodge these robot pirates. Luckily they aren't the most accurate. These ones are a bit harder though because they actually aim at you, but you can jump on them to destroy them. This is the most elite of the robo pirates, since he actually shoots in a straight line. So we need to press this to get the bridge to come round to us. And it'll wait for us, so it's nice. But as you can see in the distance, there's a teapot over there. So we're going to have to go and grab that. Oh, here we made it. Since we got double jump, it makes it so much easier to not mess up. We got that as well. That's probably the hardest bit, is getting back on the bridge as it's going around. Right, here we got to dodge the spinning robo laser thingies, even though they're emitting poison particles. That's the fourth teapot. And this last challenge, we got to blow up these pirate structures. So we can press F to shoot, but we can use these input triggers to move the cannon. Oh, too far. There we go, got that one. Second one's down. And then that's the third one. And up comes the final shrine. That's level 1 completed. There's 3 levels in total for this game. Those of you that played LEGO Universe might recognize this music. Funnily enough, they actually added music for you to use, and this was one of the tracks that was in the game. For the other levels I've used music that I own the rights to, but yeah, it's interesting. They're acknowledging LEGO Universe. Now we gotta watch out for the sharks this time. And yes, these are not normal sharks, they're laser sharks. They're very accurate as well, so we gotta be careful. There we go. You can destroy them by jumping on their weak spot. And doing so activates the elevator, so we can now get up to the upper level. Oh, there's more down there. Uh-oh. Right, let's get rid of this one on its own. And then let's head towards these without dying. Oh! There's another one. Oh, that's not too bad. Originally there was 4 there, and it was too hard, so I had to get rid of 1. There's a shooting gallery here. There we go, we made it past them. Oh, we can actually come over here and destroy this one. Get him out the way. Don't want to get hit by one of those. They can still reach us from here. Oh. Now we just need to jump across these rafts and we're nearly at the end. Gotta wait for the elevator. Alright, now we can see our dragon friend in the cage. We gotta rescue him. Luckily there's this remote detonator here and a bit of dynamite. He's a bit stuck. Come on, you can make it through the bricks. And he'll follow us. We have to get him through this gate and then we've won the level. Come on, friend. There you go. He's even pushing us now. Now on to the final level. Your dragon is feeling a bit hungry. Why don't you send it off to gather some treats? That's what we gotta do. We gotta get 6 dragon treats. So we can actually shoot fire, which is cool. And then we need to go through these hoops. and collect all the dragon treats while defending ourselves against the the pirate laser parrots, which are called snipe parrots, because they've got a looking glass eye piece that shoots the lasers, because of course they do. Now because I know where they are, I can kind of cheat and shoot them before we get into range. Oh, there we go. There's another few here. Oh. What's that up ahead? Uh-oh. There's more laser sharks. But they're no match for our dragon. And this is it, the last treat. Yay, we won! So that was my micro game. I think I spent under a week on it, just mostly experimenting with the different things and trying to get everything to work. There were a lot of custom builds in it as well, which took a bit of time to put together, as well as the levels. And then at the end, right towards when it was time to upload, there was actually some horrible bugs, and yeah, I'm not even sure why they happened, but there was something weird with the micro game itself, because you have to actually upload it to the web, and it crashed, basically some sort of memory overload thing. But luckily someone else had the same problem, and I just copied what they did, which is deleting something to do with the micro game, and it worked. But yeah, that was annoying. So what did you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and there was also another annoying bug I had to keep dealing with, and that's that the slope pieces on the dragon's body, they were supposed to be black, but for some reason they would just be turned to white, and then I'd pick a different colour and it would work. But then a few builds later, it would also change to white. I eventually went through most of the colour palette. It's like it was originally black, then it was dark red, then it was even orange, but it didn't stay. So like unfortunately, they're just white. It looks fine, but yeah, they were supposed to be a different colour. No idea why that bug occurred. It also only happened on certain pieces as well, like the other pieces just, they stayed the same colour. Just those slope ones, they kept resetting. And while you could change to a new colour, you couldn't go back to the previous one, and it was only a matter of time before it would delete that one as well and go to white. Very strange. Well, that was fun. If you want to play the game for yourself, I'll drop a link in the description below, as well as I've mentioned, the other links for if you want to try out the LEGO Microgame and how to get started. So thanks for watching. This was a fun thing to do, and maybe I'll make something else in here in the future.